Leonard, what's up? It's Labor Day, all right, 2020, and hopefully you guys are all having a good time today, being safe. And I'm gonna go ahead and give you my lecture today, and it's gonna be the reasoning behind today's lecture is twofold. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to, go in and we'll look at our weekly assignments. Okay, so I'll start with that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to end with um, some tips on terms of how to complete your first writing assignment. All right, it's really easy, straightforward. Just, 2 to 4 pages. About 3 to 4 pages, because it's going to have graphs. Okay, I'm going to show you how simple and easy this is to do. All righty. All right, so we're going to start with um, uh, the weekly assignments, and actually before we do that, I want to show you. I'm gonna be sending this out as well right here, along with my communication, and it's both the link to the Wall Street Journal if you have. Hopefully, my business majors have a subscription to the Wall Street Journal, and then I have an actual PDF file that I copied. And it really explains why it is so difficult for USC students and students at college campuses all around the country to abide by the virus restrictions. And I'm a neuroscientist, and for those of you guys, that have taken my neuroscience class, there is a big change in the very front of your brain. It is your decision maker, your executive function, it's your frontal lobe, and it undergoes this transformation as you go through puberty and then become a young adult. And one of the key elements of this transformation is you need to be able to separate yourself from your parents. You need to separate yourself from the existing generation, okay? And it's really more about me than we with that brain. And so, yeah, it's hard. You combine that with the fact that you are prime time reproduction. And so it's time to go find your life mate, whether that life mate only lasts for a week or maybe that life mate lasts your entire life. You are in drive mode to find somebody. And yeah, so it's really hard to balance those basic evolutionary drives, developmental components of how your brain has been put together, and you're at prime time right now, with the we of the world, and then the problem with COVID-19. So yeah, it's a tough situation. Sadly, if you look at USC statistics being kept by our health center, the week before classes, students had a 5% positivity rate on testing. At the end of the first week of classes, we had an almost 18% positivity rate in testing. And at the end of this last week, before Labor Day, we were at almost 32% positivity rate for the students who are being tested. And we're not unique. This is true of college campuses all around the country. So yeah, so if you start feeling funky, you got to be careful. Obviously, if my son Dave, who's a sophomore, were to bring this home, he'd have to be really careful on me, and especially my co-instructor and wife Julia, because she has leukemia, and so the hospitalization rate for her type of leukemia is 95%, and the death rate is 35%. So it's a big deal. All right, so I understand where you guys are coming from. All right, let's get right into the throes of things right here. All right, so we're going to go into our weekly assignment. Okay, and so we come down here, and oops, sorry, I went right into the critical thinking assignment that we're going to. Boom, we're going into our weekly assignment. So we've gone through our population analysis, and now we're going to hit you with a little bit of biology right here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. This has important context because understanding kind of the biology of aging, and you're going to see what I'm talking about, is really wrapped up into the future of medical technology. A lot of you guys, I know you're business majors. In fact, a lot of you bio majors don't know you're business majors. Right? 75% of science majors end up in the business world. I know because I wrote a grant application about this. And so, so understanding the biology is huge in terms of the business world. Okay, there are nutritional companies. Okay, there are, whether it's you're the marketing department of Kaiser Permanente, you're going to be pushing a lot of the things I'm going to be talking about today. So understanding aging, while it seems boring at first, is the future in terms of dealing with disease and disease prevention. Because if we can prevent aging, what are all the diseases we talked about that really afflict, westernized, developed countries like the U.S.? For the most part, 90% are these communicable diseases of aging that happen over the long term. So let's see what we can do to slow that pace through interventions like proper diet, exercise, okay, reducing stress. I mean, it sounds so colloquial, right? It sounds a lot like wellness programs, and that's what it is. But if you really understood the core biology, then you also can become more targeted. And when we talk about Julia's cancer, we'll see what I'm talking about. A lot of the aging targets I talk about today are now have been developed by pharmaceutical companies, biotech companies, as targeted interventions against cancer and diabetes. Okay, she doesn't have diabetes, but she has cancer. And rather than doing chemo, boom, there was a lot more specific targeted approach. Okay, and so someday as a business major, your knowledge of this will really help you out. Okay, all right, awesome. So what we'll do is I already downloaded this. You click right here, and it gets you going. Again, my suggestion is always at the same time you open the readings quiz, okay, and you just go back and forth, and then we're going to end with a discussion that is part of this biology of aging, okay, and that's reproduction. And we're going to, again, it's super important to you guys right now. You're doing everything you can to avoid reproduction, okay. And you do that for too long, and next thing you know, you're infertile and you got problems, or your sperm and your eggs have multiple mutations and you have problems. Okay, all right. So Julia put this in here. Just it's a cool graphic. Okay, and I know all this stuff is like, what is this? Okay, why can't they speak English? Okay, they being professorial types or scientists like myself. So antagonistic. Okay, antagonistic means it works one way and it doesn't work the other way. Okay, it's a kind of antagonist. Okay, pleiotropy. Okay, that's aspects of biology that are all about growth. Okay, theory. Okay, so the concept of this is something that's really, really good for you in terms of the way your biology is driven in youth. Okay, so that you can get big and strong, be reproductive, pass your genes on, have kids. If you keep driving those same systems, okay, when you get older, it can come back to bite you in the behind and cause disease, okay? Now, this applies to a lot of different things, okay? If we look at, when you're young, your growth hormone is just, so you eat, okay? And other types of hormones that piggyback with that go like this, and you get like this, okay? And boom, you're out reproducing, okay? Awesome, okay? When you're young, also you need to have a freaking aggressive immune system, okay? So when you get infected, bam, okay? Alrighty. So these are all the positive side, okay? But as you get older, antagonistically, okay, if those other growth systems are too aggressive, okay, your growth hormone goes down, but it still drives along with nutrition. These other systems, they can cause basically the background push for cancer and diabetes. All right, and so knowing this, guys, was really helpful in terms of the development of all the new big pharma stuff. Okay, all the there's the nutritional supplement industry is billions of dollars, and it's a big deal. Okay, it is based on this concept. You've heard a lot about COVID-19, okay? It's an inflammatory disease, meaning that same immune system that we want to be super aggressive to get rid of the virus overshoots its mark. Had the best intention, okay, but the antagonistic pleiotropy is it overshoots its mark and it causes destruction of tissue. All right, so that's what that's all about. All right, what happens? What else happens? Okay, well, we become less efficient as we get older. We accumulate crap in our cells. You accumulate this waste. It's toxic. Bam, it's bad. A classic example of a bad thing in terms of the waste accumulation is free radicals. Okay, we all eat our blueberries. Okay, all right. We exercise so that we can have our own internal antioxidant system because oxidation of a protein causes it to go tweak and not work. And then at the same time, remember that inflammatory system, the inflammatory system is an immune system that says, what the hell's that? It attacks it, bam, you got nothing but problems. So anything you can do to reduce free radicals is a good thing. The idea is as we get older, we get less efficient at it and you run into problems, okay? These things can cause insulin resistance, which is the hallmark of age-related diabetes. That then further causes, it kind of feeds back to cause these problems. It just results in cell inefficiency, cell toxins, and then that predisposes you to heart disease that we're going to learn about, cancer, all because of this. Okay, when you don't get rid of the sugar out of your blood because now you're a diabetic, sugar fixes onto proteins. The immune system says, "What's that?" It attacks. Boom. Okay, it shouldn't be, but it does, and you get into problems. All right. All right, we're going to learn about cell division a little bit. Okay, every time you have a cell division, you lose these little caps on the chromosomes. Okay, cells divide and the cap gets smaller and smaller. And every time that cap gets smaller and smaller, guess what happens? The DNA opens up, boom, and it's easily mutated. Right, and then you got problems. Okay, this can result in an accumulation of errors. It's catastrophic. Tissue begins to die off. One example of these problems, because nobody, okay, I'm exaggerating here, but for the most part, nobody divides more than our friends in the immune system, and they go south on you, and you can develop autoimmunity. This is a woman's disease as well, okay? So it's there's a lot of reasons. Women's disease is modulated different by their hormones, okay? And when you have children, there's little bits and pieces, your kid's stuck inside you, and your immune system is going, what's that? All right, on and on. And in the end, why do we have all this? People believe that evolutionarily, old people need to say bye-bye so that young people can come in. Okay, all right. So that's the idea of that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the actual article. So I've given you this premise, and I'm going to just race through this, guys. All right. So we're going to talk about, aging theory. What is it all about? Okay. Why do we age? How do we age? Okay. And so as we go into it, so that's, just the little prelude right here. All right. And it shows a clock. Okay. Like again, this kind of biological clock. Why do things turn on and then turn off? Why do problems accumulate? Okay. All righty. So one of the things that we can do, okay, to slow down this clock, okay, so to speak, okay, slow down the accumulation of crap in our cells, slow down the likelihood of having diabetes, slow down these bad hormones I was telling you about that can, with overnutrition, to drive cancer and diabetes, is something pretty simple. You just kind of you reduce the number of calories that come in through here. Okay, so you just have Mediterranean diet. Okay, and at the same time you try and burn more, you maintain an exercise program. Okay, this is so inherently obvious, but this has been done experimentally with true scientific method. All right, where we looked at the model of aging species. So Walter Longo for a program looked at yeast, where they have a lifespan of a couple of days. Okay, and then you carry that on to more model systems like these little worms that Sean Kern in our program looks at, called C. elegans. C is short for a long ass word. And then and people look at Drosophila, and again they see these different types of diets will cause longevity, and then they look in at at long-lived species, and members of those species, since they're so simple. You can go in there and you look, and look, there's a little tweaker mutation that made that guy long-lived. That gene must be responsible for it. And so you start using these model systems, and then you go up the ladder. Then you start looking at mice. Maybe you can even look at monkeys, okay? And then you apply it to humans, all right? And that's where we're at, okay? So we have a really good understanding of how diet retards so the age-related changes, and also the age-related diseases. So that's awesome, all right? And then you turn around and you can apply this knowledge to the companies that you're developing that are pharmaceutical as well as nutritional supplement type companies. Okay, they call it Nutricycles. Okay, And they're big time. They are big time. All right. So a big part of this right here, when you, all right, here's my cup of coffee. I threw a little sugar in there. Why not? Okay. Yum. Okay, that sugar goes from my stomach into my intestines, into my blood, and then the pancreas says, "Whoa, sugar," and it starts spewing out insulin. Okay, when I have the meal, okay, I have another endocrine system that is from my liver that spews out this thing called insulin-like growth factor 1. All right, because the idea is all these goodies are coming in. All right, let's put it into our cells, and while we're at it, since there's so many goodies, make them grow, make them grow. Okay, which is all good when you're young. Okay, I don't need that stuff when I'm in my 60s. Okay, because I have attained my full developmental size, but the growth signal still happens, and it can happen regionally. And guess what I have? Bam, a tumor. Okay, or just vascular, just guck. Okay, that's associated with diabetes and heart disease. All because I didn't control my insulin and IGF-1 signal. Okay, so you learn about this. Okay, and then so there's all kinds of companies that are coming up with targeted therapies that are going to reduce the action of the disease in a very positive, functional way. This is something to think about. Here's that little worm, okay, that my friend Sean Curran, he's a full professor in our group, works on. That's C. elegans. Again, it's a model system. Alrighty, so what happens, okay? What are some of the bad things that can happen when nutrition and things is altered and you have too much sugar around? Sugar, okay, so here's my coffee cup doing its thing, okay? But then what happens is a sugar molecule binds onto it, okay? And now I'm gonna try and bring that coffee to my mouth. I can't, okay? It's cross-linked, it's dysfunctional, okay? Alrighty, that's a bummer, okay? If I alter my diet, okay, get rid of the sugar, then that protein works pretty good. That's the concept with this. This can happen with your DNA as well, all right? When you are in some type of environmental condition that has things that mutate your genes, okay, that alter your DNA, they can cross-link, and that's bad news, my friend, okay? It could be the end of the cell, or it can really limit what that cell can do to help you, because you're constantly making new, here, let me show you what's going on here. All right, look at this, baby. I'm going to change your guys' ways, okay? All right, so that is a complete vegetarian cookbook, okay? So this is your DNA, okay? All day long, every fraction of a second, all right, some message comes in and says, you know what, I need to go to chapter 12 and look at recipe number 6, okay? I need more of that. Boom, 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 boom. The recipes are for proteins, and you do this on demand all day long, okay? Your DNA is cross-linked. Sorry, somebody spilled coffee on that recipe, and I can't read it, okay? You can't get to it. Right, that's the concept there. All righty. Cool. So then we look at this kind of the evolutionary concept of senescence, and this gets back to this thing that I was talking about, antagonistic pleiotropy. Something that's good for me now screws me later on. Okay. Remember the insulin and the IGF-1? When I was a kid, I needed a ton of that because I needed to get, look at how big and strong Doc Walsh is. All right, not so much, but anyways, but I needed a lot of it. When I'm older, I don't need a lot of that. Okay, so the idea is let's get John big enough so that he can find his mate. Okay, so I beat down the competition. I found Julie. All right, need to be big and strong for that. All right, and then Julie and I made 2 kids. Okay, there you go. All right, so it's all good. All right, so do you need me to stick around? No. Okay, so hopefully the kids will survive just long enough to fend for themselves, and we're going to take John Walsh out. All right, that's the evolutionary concept. It's called natural selection, baby. And when me and my 2 boys are chugging down the path and up comes a mountain lion, who's going to get grabbed from behind? I am. All right, and that's because we don't want me to keep reproducing, right? Because my genes have gotten a little tweaked. Got a bunch of mutations now. I'll make tweaker kids You don't need that, okay? So so it's better that I die, my kids survive, and they pass on their good genes, all right? And this is all part of the aging process. A big part of this, okay, they show the mitochondria. This gets into free radical generation, okay? So when you breathe in oxygen, okay, your cells use it, okay, young cells, pretty damn efficient, okay? Old cells, not so efficient, okay? It's like having an old car spewing out exhaust, okay? My old cells don't use the oxygen well, and then the electrons that are bouncing around in the mitochondria latch on to the oxygen that's not cleared, and lo and behold, they have these free radicals that ding, 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 damage the mitochondria. Now that old mitochondria is like an old car. Okay, so what you need to do is be young and vital, okay, and get rid of the old and put in the new. Now, at my age, okay, at any age, the best way to get rid of the old and put in the new, okay, is exercise, okay. It's been shown to turn over the mitochondria, get rid of old ones, put brand new spanking new cars in there, okay. Proper diet, okay. If I'm sitting around eating donuts all the time, okay, then what happens is there's a whole hormonal system that we're talking about. Remember the insulin, the IGF-1, they're like, go, 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 grow. Screw the old mitochondria, we'll keep them around, all right? Just grow, all right? And then that comes back to bite you in the behind. So the best way to have new mitochondria is have a good diet, all right? Limit your caloric intake. My wife and I, to be healthy, just started this intermittent fasting program where we stop eating. I'm usually about 9. She stops eating at 8 o'clock at night, and then we have coffee in the morning, and that's it. And we start eating at noon, and that gives you just the right amount of lack of nutrition to put in all these defense mechanisms. Poof, new mitochondria. Poof, antioxidant enzymes get put in. Those are proteins that I go to the cookbook and say, you know what? Doc Walsh is not eating right now, so I better protect my cells by putting out antioxidant enzymes. That's how it works, baby. All right, cool. All right, so that's what this is all about. All right. So I need to maintain my genome. When I'm eating food all the time, it is a gas pedal go signal of we're not going to worry about that. We're just going to make new cells. And if that's, and make new cells, you make it from the copy of the old one. And if that old cell has a bunch of mutations in its DNA, guess what? We're just going to pass those mutations on to the next one that we make and the next one that we make. All right. And that's the way diseases happen. Okay. So if I am not bringing in a ton of nutrition like I did this morning, all right, when I exercise and to combine the exercise with that period when you are fasting, boom, it is the bomb. Okay. And so what happens is your molecular mechanism, I have proteins that go into hyperdrive and say, you know what, we are going to go in and protect ourselves. So we're gonna get rid of the damage. Okay. So I talked about oxidative free radicals. We have enzymes. Remember my cookbook? Okay. I put into place to get rid of the oxidative damage. All right. And so we want repair mechanisms, and this is driven by healthy living. Okay. All right. Neuroendocrine hypothesis aging. So I can control my diet. I can control my exercise. Okay. And these things interact with my brain in terms of not only this component we're talking about that are growth signals, because my brain's interacting with my liver all the time. Okay. Growth hormone. The message for growth hormone comes from my brain through my pituitary and goes down to my liver. And then bam, out comes a bunch of IGF-1. Insulin interacts with my brain. All these things are happening all the time. Okay. I can't get into this. It's a huge, huge component. The other thing of the neuroendocrine theory is stress and cortisol. Okay. So that's another thing to think about. All righty. I just talked about oxidative damage, all right? Anything I can do to limit that, okay? When you exercise, you actually have a lot of free radicals. It is just a little boom of oxidative damage. And then what happens, your body says, this guy's gonna exercise all the time. I'm gonna upregulate my proteins, okay? Fine, and put a bunch of them in there so the next time that person exercises, I'll be able to handle those oxidants. Isn't that awesome? And then at the same time, when you're cruising around watching TV, you're upregulated then to protect yourself. This is good for all diseases and to reduce the rate of aging. Now, the amount of free radicals produced are a function of how rapid your metabolism is. All right. So when you're exercising, your metabolism's up, and then you'll find out your metabolism drops in between exercise sessions. Then you get to the question of why is it that my dog Bella is not going to live as long as me? Okay, all you need to do is put your ear on her chest and listen to her heart rate. Okay, I'm sitting around 60 to 70 beats per minute, and she's going at almost 200 beats per minute. Their metabolism is much higher, and you look at a mouse, even higher, and that's the whole concept there. All right, cool. All righty, this right here gets into our reproduction. All right. Replicative senescence. Okay, we can only make so many new cells. Okay, this applies also to our immune system. It applies to any tissue that's reproducing. My skin. Okay, I'm getting rid of all dead skin cells. New ones are coming in. The rate that I do this replacement is a lot slower because of changes in my cell division process. It's a complicated process, but the one thing that people have honed in on is these telomeres, okay? And the more of these caps on the end of your chromosomes, the faster your cells undergo replication. So you can pretty much guess that my skin cells compared to yours have a much smaller cap or telomere, and that slows down the rate of cell division, and those caps protect the DNA, so I'm more likely to have mutations in you, okay? I have an illustration here. Look at those guns, okay? All right, so yeah, it's all good, but in terms of my skin, I want you guys to do the same thing. You see that, all right? That's not going to happen with you because your skin is flexible. My old skin cells, I have less elastin and collagen, and they have to stay there longer. Now, let's take a look at the elastin and collagen here. Okay, ready? Because of the lack of cell division, I have old tissue, and oh, come on, go back. Okay, good. There you go. That's not going to happen to you either, all right? Comes to your immune system. Why is it that people who's dying from COVID-19? Old people. What's going on there? Okay, a big part of it is their immune system is so slow in producing new cells. So if you get infected with a virus or a bacteria, your immune system goes 2, 4, 6, 8, 16, 32, just like the virus is doing the same thing. 2, 4, 6, 8, 16, 32, 64. But your immune system keeps up with it. The old guy, because our telomeres have shrank, that slows down our cell division. The old guy like me, my immune system cells, and there's tons of different varieties, they go 2, 4, 6, and as a result, if I get sick, I get sick for longer. So that's why every year you hear people over the age of 65 need to get a flu shot so that they get a leg up on that. It gives you a huge army. Instead of having one cell going 2, 4, I might want to get a flu shot. It gives me an army of cells that will go 2, 4, but it's an army, okay? And again, it's kind of complicated, but that's it. All right, so that's the concept there. Awesome, we're done with that. Let's apply this now to reproduction. And this is this part right here. Now, this is a pretty cool section for you guys to think about. Like I said, just like Julie and I met Julie when she just turned 20. I was 27. We were really poor back then, and we basically had nothing. We made it on our own, just like you guys can someday. And but we had to get our act together, right? And that meant we had to get jobs. We need to start to build ourselves financially, so we start feeling comfortable and stable. Not that there's any right way, that was our way. And then you got to go in there and see if you want to have kids, okay? And so I waited till I was 39, okay? So we were together 12 and a half years before we had kids. We dated for 4.5 years, and then we got married when Julie was 24 and a half, okay? And I was 31, okay, as you can do the math. And then we waited 8.5 years after our marriage to have our first child, okay? All right, that was just our way, all right? All right, so when you go through this, then you'll see what happens, okay? What happens to your reproductive ability as you get older? So you spend all your time trying to avoid it. you get yourself into a, so go into this website here, and you do everything you can to avoid reproduction, and then you're ready to rock, and then lo and behold, you might run into some trouble. All right. So the way this website works, hi guys. All right. Yes, these are fertility specialists, and you guys may be buying into this. Okay. All right. So let's look what happens to your ability to reproduce as you get older. All right. So we click right here, and here you guys are right here. Nah, I don't think I want to reproduce now. Okay, you're not fully developed. Okay, then boom, you hit prime time. Okay, and you're getting your career together, and all of a sudden, look how quickly things drop off. Okay, all right. So Julie had our second child right here at this range. Okay, she was 39. All right, and it was not so easy. All right, the first one she was 31. It came pretty easily. All right, so this is what happens. All right, there's this drop in fertility. Okay, all right, so then you go back here, you click here. So what this does is this website is all about is how to monitor your fertility. Okay, and same thing goes with us guys too. Guys, we're not off the hook. All right, and I'll show you that later on. So you can look at fertility potential. Okay, right here. There's a hormonal testing system. Basically what happens is this is your brain right here. Here's your pituitary. All right, so you are going to release certain hormones, okay, called follicle stimulating hormones. It comes down here and it causes the follicles to grow, okay, and then they release estrogen and it comes back up here, and it inhibits, okay, and this is why you cycle once a month. So this is this follicle stimulating hormone that gets released right here. All right. Why you cycle and why does it shut off? Because this thing gets so gigantic. It starts here and it goes, and it's pumping out more and more estrogen. The estrogen inhibits your brain, your pituitary from producing this, okay? And then bump, you cycle out, you undergo menstruation, and then the whole process starts all over again, all right? So we can fool the system by blocking these estrogen receptors, okay, with a drug called clomiphene, all right? And then what happens is you just pump out this FSH, and instead of having a single egg, you might pump out 15. We went through this, okay, to have our second child. Julie said her ovaries felt like they were basketballs, okay, because she was pumping out multiple eggs, all right? And so you monitor how responsive the ovaries are with this test, all right? Pretty awesome, huh? Something that, again, a lot of you guys may have to go through, okay? So this is FSH, okay? That's the hormone I was talking about. So we got to look at, how effective you are as a function of age of pumping out that follicle stimulating hormone. I can go back. We're going to get right here. Again, we're looking at right here. So we want to know, are you able to pump it out to make all kinds of eggs? All right. All right. Very cool. This is the clomiphene challenge test that I was talking about. This is how you go about it, okay? This is a little video on it, okay? You check it out. What does clomiphene do? I'll just go right back here to looking at the fertility potential. Clomiphene blocks this so that the FSH goes nuts here. Makes you a super ovulator, okay? And when you do that then, all right, and you have sperm inside your uterus, okay, then you'll have multiple eggs come down. It's not like one egg comes out or two. You might have 10 come down, okay, and then the sperm can have just a party up there, and you can have octuplets, all right. So that's what that's all about, all right. That's how fertility drugs work. All right, cool. All right, and these are other ones right here, other ways of monitoring yourself. That's what that's all about. Check it out, because guess what? You guys are sad that you're going to be on board of this. These are a list of these drugs, all the steps away. So there are multiple approaches to make you a super ovulator. All right, and if that doesn't work, then you know what? Then you can go to higher powers of technology, and this is all about in vitro fertilization. Okay, really cool.
The menstrual cycle of fertile women usually lasts about a month.
So it explains the cycles, it explains everything we talked about, okay? And then this right here shows you the actual process of doing in vitro fertilization from a laboratory sense, okay? Yeah, All right, so we come down here. What do we got, guys? All right, we're looking at the function of paternal age. Okay, that's me. All right. And first of all, our sperm are less effective at impregnating. Okay, so we're in terms of fertilization of an egg, it goes down as we get older, and then lo and behold, everybody always talks about women's eggs and age and increased risk for something like Down syndrome or trisomy 21. But lo and behold, we can look at a function of age here, and you can see sorry, I'm gonna just blow it up here. Sorry, hopefully it'll come blown up. All right, boom, boom. Now there's a limit here in Blackboard. But anyways, I blew it up a little bit, okay? But we see here paternal age, okay, on this side, okay, and we see the likelihood of different groups here of bipolar disorder, ADHD, psychosis, substance abuse, um, um, on and on and on and on. It's all impacted by paternal age. Okay, so like I said, we're not left off the hook. Okay, quick breather here. All right, so let's go back over here. Okay, and I want to go into critical thinking assignment 2. Now, what I'm going to do here is I will leave this. This is the how-to that I've done before. It hasn't changed, but I'm going to show you real quick steps how to do it right now. All right, so this, again, it gets turned in through. Where does it get turned in through? There's our rubric. Okay, critical thinking assignment 1, upload here in turnitin.com. Okay, all right, so we have the grading rubric, so it's pretty straightforward, okay, what to expect in terms of points. Here are some frequently asked questions and tips, okay, and this is the kind of graphs that you're going to be generating. Now let's see how we do this, okay. First of all, read the instructions, my friends, okay. So we want you to collect data from 3 very different countries, all right, the world and the US, okay. So that's 3 plus 1 plus 1. That's 5 different lines in your graph. And we want you to do that, okay, for 3 different conditions. We're going to look at crude birth rate per 1,000 people. Right? We're going to look at the age dependency ratio, old, okay? So that's where we're looking at the number of old people in that country's population compared to the income generating workers, okay, that you guys are going to become, okay? That's what that is. And then we're going to look at the population age 65 and above in just kind of brute force numbers. All right. All right. You're going to create graphs of these data for the 3 countries, the world, and the US. 5 lines. All right. Okay. We want you to pick at least 1 developing country. All right. All right, we're developed. What's a developing country? Oh, look, here's a little list right here, right? These are economically slightly less developed. That's what it all means. Their economy there is not so developed, and so they're more agricultural. They need more young people, on and on and on. It's a whole social science behind the economy. As you become more industrialized, then you don't need as many kids, all right? All right. So we want you to go to them, and then importantly, you come down here, all right, and how do we stack up? All right, so in your analysis, and this is in the rubric, how does the US compare to other countries in the world? All right, awesome, okay. Why did you choose the countries you did? Categorize them, developed, less developed, that's where my families come from, whatever it is, okay. All right, how does everybody compare? All right, how these compare to the US and the world average, okay? Why? Why is it when you chose Ecuador or the Congo, okay? When you chose Vietnam, whichever one, why were they late? We're going to see this as a function of time. What was the inflection point at that period in history? What changed for those countries? So you analyze and explain these data trends, all right? Awesome. All right, and then don't forget, sorry to say this, but it does have a due date, and we deduct 10% per day, 10% per day for late papers, and we do not accept them 1 week after the due date. So you just got to get it done. All right, bada bing. Don't forget, down here is the rubric. you have any questions, but I pretty much spelled it out. All right, so what do we do here? Let me get my face out of here. All right, so I'm looking at, we put down maps, it's kind of interesting, but do the charts. All right, so we're going to go into this website. All right, here is my chart. It's loading. All right, and there it is. Okay, so we're looking at the world now. This is the birth rate. All right, that's pretty cool. All right, then I'm going to choose some countries. All right, how about Afghanistan? Let's put that one in. All right, okay, so now there's the Afghanistan. Oh, the world left. Okay, I better put the world back in. I'm going to find W. www. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. There it is. All right. I want the world in there. Okay. All right. Now look, it's back in. All right. So we can see how Afghanistan stacks up as a function of time versus the world. All right. And it shows you that this is going to, the cool thing about this world data bank is this, you can use this for anything. Okay. We're using it for just this purpose. Sky's the limit in terms of data analysis having this website. It's awesome. I challenge you to go to their home site. You're going to use this all throughout your life in your workplace to just, for world domination. All right. So to take control in the business, you'll use these charts. Okay. All right. That's just part one. What else do we say we need? Don't forget the, we're going to get down there. All right. And don't forget us, United States. All right. Okay. All right, we're getting there. Is that 5? No, that's not 5. Okay. How about my friends in Australia? How do they stack up? Okay, that's 4. All right. So I have my developing country. Okay. All right. I have my fully developed, westernized, unwesternized, industrialized, not industrialized. So these are all stacked up. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I have the world. Something's missing. All right. You know what's missing? Let's just choose one just because I have an interest in it, okay? And we're going to look at my ancestors. How about Ireland? Boom. All right. There we go. So we have the world, okay? We have Austria, US, we have Ireland, and Afghanistan. All right, that's awesome. Let's get this out of the way here. So what we need to do is I'm going to shrink this a little bit, okay? All right, so I'm zooming down so I get a nice picture. All right, and then what you need to do, okay, I'm showing you this so you can see, okay? There's a keystroke. You see this right here? That's your Windows icon, Shift S, all right? When you do that, then you can put this into a document, all right? So this is how you copy your figures, all right? There's a similar keystroke in Mac. So those of you guys that are Mac players, it's a command. I can't hear. Let me just. I can't even see it. Let me take a look here. All right. All right. So how do you take a screenshot in Mac? Oh, come on. I don't want to watch a video. Oh, there it is. Okay. So it's command. Sorry. Jump. There it is. Command, Shift, and 3. All right. All right. You do that, and we'll show you what happens. All right. So I'm going to go back to what I was doing here. There's my chart. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Windows key Shift S. All right. I grab hold of this X. All right. All right. I'm going to outline what it is I want. And my computer's going to tell me I got it. All right. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I can go into a Word doc, for example. Okay. Let's say this one. All right. So I'm going to go right here. All right. And there. Want to find a new page? I hit paste. There it is. All right. Awesome. And I can shrink it and put it however I want. Right. So that's part one. And then I'll, dialogue here. This was birth rate. All right. God, I can't type today. Birth rate. All right. And I'm going to compare all my countries. All right. And that's how you do it. It's pretty straightforward. Right. You save it. You upload it into Turnitin. Right. That's what it's all about, my friends. Okay. So I think my job is done. You do that for 3 different things as indicated here. And that's your paper, my friends. Okay, so let's go back to our announcements. All right, and this is a short article to just consider what's going on in your lives. All right, guys. All right. So, wow. So that was really awesome, and I think it's time to say adios. And I'm saying goodbye.